Hey there, everybody. The girls follow me just about everywhere in the yard. Um, but do you ever have one of those times where you realize you really screwed up and at the same time did really well? I'm starting off with this shot because even though these aren't the plants that I'm about to be showing you, uh, the green wall effect that some folks have, myself included, um, can kind of blind us when we are doing our observations for our planting spaces or our planning. And sometimes it can be really difficult for some people, myself included, to be as meticulous as one would hopefully be in cataloging all of the species that you have in a particular spot. It can be daunting, and counting can be challenging. And when you are by yourself doing these projects and have a million and one other things that you are also managing in your life, being as meticulous as one would hopefully be can be difficult to say the least. So if you go plant blind when you are out there doing your investigations, don't feel too bad. You're not alone. I walked about 10 feet up. We were right over there's and we are up in the area where I had planted all of those viburnum species. You can see one of the high bush cranberries right here. And if I pan a little bit to the left, just underneath this autumn olive is one of the nanny berries. And when I was thinking about this space, I had kind of planned out and mapped what was in this general vicinity here. So in this little arc, and what these individuals were going to be interacting with the most. And I thought to myself, this really feels like a good spot for the viburnums. And for the most part, I'm pretty happy with their response. If I come down in here, you can see last year's wood and how much growth they have put on in the time since being planted. This is easily a foot of new growth coming up from these shoots. And so I feel very validated in my selection of this area and my intuition that a viburnum or 4 or 5 would like this spot. The edge would be good for them, and the dappled light and the interaction of these trees, like the oaks and these guys, which iNaturalist believes are the critically endangered white ash. If one of you is considerably better at tree identification than me, I'd love, I was going to say a second set of eyes, but a third and fourth set of eyes would be great too. So take a moment. Here's the underside of the leaf, the top of the leaf, and the general pattern that they are putting out. I have a ton of these popping up in the yard in places where I have intentionally neglected. So if someone has an idea or further clarification, you're awesome, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you all anyway, but in this particular matter, I'd love a more expert than me opinion. And so coming back into this space where I had pretty much thought, oh, well, I have a few more autumn olives and a few blackberry type plants that are coming up, and some oaks and some maples, and a whole lot more blackberry plants and some more oaks that I can select for. And in all of this destruction, all of this tree fall that you see back here, cleared the way to this little lovely right here, which is another kind of viburnum that is several years old and is doing very well this year, to the point that it's actually flowering for the first time that I can recall. Look at those little flowers. I'm gonna zoom in a little aggressively here. Look at all those little lovelies. Just a beautiful little pad of flowers that will hopefully provide some food, maybe to me, probably to a whole bunch of birds. And I think this might be a nannyberry. It seems a little tall to be a northern raisin. Those seem to have a shorter growth habit, but I'm very excited, and it feels amazing to find another viburnum growing happily where I thought one ought to be. Feels kind of bad. I won't lie. It feels silly to me to feel like I am telling people what to do or providing suggestions, and I failed to really observe as thoughtfully and as intimately as I know ought to happen. But at the same time, I'm aware that our observations can provide pictures to patterns, but our picture is never fully complete. And so it feels okay to go with as much data as you can handle. Probably ought to go get another coffee. It feels okay to collect as much data as you can handle, as you can process for yourself, and go based on those bits of information. The smaller the changes you make, the easier time you will have with making adjustments as you go and as you learn more and as you build those data points to present an actual picture of a pattern or of general behaviors over a period of time. But the important part is to take that data, apply your intuition, apply what you know about things that you think ought to grow there, and go and plant. So it feels right. It feels good. It feels like there's bugs all over my face. And yeah, work continues. But I wanted to share that little tidbit. Do what you can with the data you have, and then adjust as you go. Till next time. Thanks for watching. Happy planting.